Good morning, Jackson, Mississippi, and all surrounding areas. You've tuned in to the free-range human show of choice. Your daily dose of reality radio starts now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am, of course, Clay Edwards. And I have got a special guest in the studio with me this morning who has been on the front lines of the pro-life movement here in Mississippi for so long. And there wouldn't even be a Clay Edwards Show if it wasn't for Jim Thorn deciding to kind of take a step back a little bit. And when this news came down Friday, or really we started talking about doing this Thursday, and when the news came down Friday that Roe had been overturned, Jim and I decided to get together and put a show together, and I just thought it was only right to let Jim come on and do the show, and he lined up some great guests for us today. So we got a huge first hour is what I'm trying to tell you guys. And then coming up in hour number 2 at the 8 o'clock, in the 8 o'clock hour, I've got Michael Cassidy coming on for the whole hour to get ready for the big runoff election against Michael Guest tomorrow. So that should be a great interview. Stay tuned for that. But look, man, with no further ado, my friend, my cohort, Mr. Jim Thorn. Jim, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Clay. It's good to be with you. It's early for me, a little bit.
It is early. You get up at like 4 o'clock every morning.
I'm up early. So I really am, yeah.
It's not that early. Real quick, we're not going to take any calls this morning. Like I said, we've got callers lined up, special guest invited callers. So just enjoy the ride this morning. The Matt Keuchel phone line will be filled up with callers. If you want to text into the show, I possibly will be able to read some text on air. The Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. And I want to send out a special prayer request this morning. Greg Goldman, a lot of you guys may remember Greg. He was the sign interpreter during all of the COVID press conferences for the state of Mississippi and for the city of Jackson, I believe. Greg had the black curly hair, or he's not dead, has the black curly hair. I think he cut his hair, though. Neither here nor there. He goes to my church out there at Hickory Ridge Baptist, and they put out a prayer alert yesterday that Greg has been diagnosed with leukemia and will start chemotherapy treatment today. So if you would, keep Greg in your prayers. He was kind of the highlight of those press conferences in a very, very dark time. And always enjoyed his enthusiasm. Also, I'm a state fan, so you ain't getting a hotty-toddy out of me, but congratulations, Ole Miss. I think that is really cool for the state of Mississippi to have back-to-back World Series or national champions, however you want to say it, College World Series champions. I posted this on Twitter yesterday, and I sent it to Mayor Jake Wyndham over there in Pearl. He's an Ole Miss fan. I said, the next Governor's Cup there at Trustmark Park is for all the marbles, isn't it? Kind of the de facto world champion, super world champion, like the Thanos of world champions. So looking forward to that. All right, Jim, our first guest is Terri Herring. Would you like to introduce her?
Yeah, I would, Clay. It's Terri really has been an advocate for the unborn for a lot of years. She has worked tirelessly at the state capitol in order to educate lawmakers about certain bills that would help protect the unborn as well as women facing unplanned pregnancies. Now, many of those are now law, and she's also the main reason we've got the Choose Life car tag that you see around. If you haven't already got one, I strongly recommend that you do. But money from that helps crisis pregnancy centers across our state, and Terri now serves as president of Choose Life Mississippi. It's a pleasure to have on the program Terri Herring. Good morning, Terri.
Good morning, Jim.
You know, I know I was thinking about you when I heard this, the announcement about this decision Friday, and you've had a lot of emotions over the years, a lot of victories on the legislative pro-life front, but also some defeats. What were your thoughts, Terri Herring, when you heard the Supreme Court decision Friday overturning Roe?
You know, tears just flooded my eyes. I was so thankful and grateful, but it wasn't celebratory because I think this is so deep in most of us who have worked on this. I was just thankful that what the Lord had done. It's amazing how great is our God, that we were able in such a time as this to see this come to pass, and we were just thankful.
Yeah, I know you. So many people share your sentiments there, but Terri, you know, at one time, Mississippi had 6 or 7 abortion clinics, and for the last few years, there's been one over there on State Street in Jackson. The last report that I had heard, that one clinic had been claiming the lives of about 3,000 unborn children each year. And what's going to happen now? What are you hearing? What's going to happen to that clinic now that Roe has been overturned?
Well, Jim, their numbers have gone up to over 5,000.
Oh, wow.
At one time, they had dropped below 2,000. And Texas and Louisiana have been coming over because Texas couldn't abort. So closing this clinic is going to save more than Mississippi babies. It could save us from aborting additional children from out of state. But this will close the abortion clinic. Mississippi has a trigger law that we passed in 2007. And the trigger law basically bans abortion in Mississippi, except to save the life of the mother or in the case of rape that is reported. A lot of people have mentioned incest, but our attorneys tell us that incest is statutory rape. A family member sleeping with an underage girl is statutory rape, and that would be covered under our law. So we're not concerned about that. And of course, we believe that those children should be protected. So anyway, that's how our law stands. The challenge with the law at this point is that Lynn Fitch, our Attorney General, has to certify that the decision actually overturned Roe v. Wade. We were hoping she would do that on Friday because we have to wait 10 days from the time it's certified to the time that it goes into effect. And I watched a press conference by Diane Dursey, the owner of that abortion clinic, and she vowed defiantly to continue to abort for the next 10 days past the certification. So hopefully Lynn Fitch will get that certification done today. The other thing that might be helpful is we have a lot of laws that have been sitting on the books that have been enjoined in court. One of those laws is Heartbeat, which would end abortion at 6 weeks, and that law could be implemented. So I think that, the Attorney General's office is working on stopping abortion before those 10 days are up. Mm-hmm. For those of us who have waited for over 30 years, it's really hard to wait 10 more days.
Yeah.
So the trigger law won't go into effect until Lynn Fitch certifies, which we hope she does today. And then it's 10 days after that, or she has up to 10 days to certify. I just want to clarify.
I've read it. To me, the law sounds like she has to certify, and then they give 10 days. And I was there when we lobbied for this bill, and I'm like, I don't know how that 10 days got in there, but I could be reading it wrong, and I hope so, because obviously we want abortions to end today, and we know that they were performing abortions until 6 o'clock on Friday night. Oklahoma, other states were, closing down the abortion industry, and it's been tough on Friday and Saturday to know that they were performing abortions there and had not been closed down quite yet.
Well, sorry, Joe. I just want to say I did see where the baby killers were on the news crying that they were now going to have to drive all the way to Illinois to kill their babies. So. So kudos for Mississippi. We're and the surrounding states. We're not making it easy for them, and I just want to thank you for the fight you guys have put up. Jim, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. One thing I want to get in here before we let Terri go, Terri Herring, our guest, is the Choose Life tag. That's been an awesome benefit to the crisis pregnancy centers across the state, and we've seen them. Terri, you want to comment on that?
Yes. So one of the things, obviously, that we want to do, potentially with 5,000 abortions being performed every year in the latest statistics from the Department of Health, we want to say, we could have hundreds of women seeking abortion every week in Mississippi. And so I think it becomes more important for all of us in the pro-life movement to do all we can to make our crisis pregnancy centers available and meeting the needs of these women. Because, contrary to what the press would like to believe, we really want to end abortion because we know abortion hurts women.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We know it kills the baby and wounds the woman for the rest of her life. So we are seriously doing all we can to provide some assistance financially. Choose Life helps grant funds to over 30 pregnancy resource centers across Mississippi. Also, Speaker Philip Gunn led the charge this last session to get a $3.5 million tax credit that would go to the pregnancy resource centers. So that's a lot of money. If a company gives any money, they can go through the process, and you can contact your local CPC and see what that process is without going over everything on the phone. But basically, whatever your tax burden is, if you owe $50,000, you can give $50,000 to the Pregnancy Resource Center and get that credited back.
That's great.
So it is a dollar for dollar credit, and so basically we're seeing $3.5 million come in to the Pregnancy Resource Centers this year, and you have to be a part of the Choose Life grants in order to qualify. So that's one of the qualifications. And we did that so that we could make sure that no one getting these dollars is referring for abortion.
Terri, our time is about gone, but I would encourage our listeners, if you haven't already gotten a Choose Life tag for your vehicle, go to chooselifems.com or chooselifems.org. Is that correct, Terri?
Yeah, chooselifems.org is a great place to find out more information about purchasing a Choose Life tag, and it's been a real blessing, Jim. We're at the 4 million mark on being able to help our pregnancy resource centers and encourage them to be there for these women. So let's make history in more than one way, right?
Absolutely.
We have made history. We have lobbied and worked for over 30 years to get to this place, and God has honored us that we were the ones with the Dobbs bill that was the stone that slayed Goliath.
Terri, our time is about gone, but listen, thank you so much for the work that you've done, that you're continuing to do, and again, chooselifems.org. Terri Herring, any final comments before we let you go, real quick?
Well, I think my Goliath example is just to say we've slain Goliath, but there are still a lot of Philistines out there. So help us end abortion in Mississippi by helping women choose life.
Thank you, Terri. Have a blessed day out there.
Thank you, Clay. Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye. That was Terri Herring on the Mac Haik of Flowood phone line. I'm joined in the studio by Jim Thorn today, and we'll be right back on 103.9 WYAB. Back into the Clay Edwards Show. Man, we've got a huge show going on this morning. We're joined in the studio by Jim Thorn. We've got a great lineup of guests in the first hour to discuss Roe being overturned. And we've got Michael Cassidy coming up top of hour number 2 for the whole hour. But real quick, this segment is going to be brought to you by Watkins Construction and Roofing. A roof repair can cause you a lot of stress. Choosing the right roofing company to repair your roof is very important. Most contractors will try to convince you that replacement is the only way to go, and that, my friends, that is not the Watkins way. They believe in an honest assessment that does not necessarily mean replacement. In most cases, all you need is a repair. So whether you have a leaky roof, need chimney roof repair, flat roof repair, roof water leak, shingle roof repair, metal roof repair, chimney flashing repair needed, Watkins Construction Roofing is your go-to roof repair specialist. Give them a call today for your complimentary roof assessment at 601-966-8233 or check them out online at watkinsconstructioninc.com. All right, on the Mac Haik of Flowood Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram phone line, we have got Miss Laura Knight with Pro-Life Mississippi. Hey, good morning, Laura. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Clay.
How are you doing?
Oh, we're doing great. It's a wonderful Monday of a brand new week. It's going to be great.
This is the best Monday in a long time, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. A hopeful Hope-filled morning, hope-filled week, a whole new chapter in the pro-life movement.
Hey, Laura, Jim Thorn here. You know, I know Pro-Life Mississippi was founded in 1984, and you've been educating the public about the sanctity of human life for all those years. And, of course, everyone associated with y'all have been longing for this day. I'm sure you're going to continue to be a voice for those who cannot speak for themselves, but will your message be modified in any way going forward, and what would that message be?
Well, our message will be still the same, but our topics of interest will be a different focus, a slightly different focus, more in depth. Now that we do not have to focus on abolishing abortion, it will be extremely regulated within our state, especially in the beginning. And we hope to go have real conversations, talk about more about adoption, about foster care, about senior care, about all the different issues that affect life, and also watching the other side, watching the pro-choice and the abortion industry, trying to circumvent our laws, trying to reach our women with these lies and deception that tells them that abortion will help them succeed in life, and we want to tell them that abortion will only hurt them, and that families are more important.
Laura, I know there are those on the opposite side of this who've been advocating even vandalism, even violence against organizations like yours and churches too. Have you guys, Pro-Life Mississippi, are y'all concerned about that here?
We have not received any direct threats. Some of us on the sidewalk outside the abortion facility have received personal threats, but we as an organization haven't received any direct threats, but we are being cautious and watchful.
Yeah. I know your message would be to our listeners that we're hearing these twisted reports from a lot of the mainstream media about painting organizations like Pro-Life Mississippi as the enemy. What would you say to those listening now who are hearing that kind of stuff?
I would say to them that Pro-Life Mississippi wants to promote the family and empower women. We want to help mothers and change this mindset that we want to build a culture of life within our state. We want to support families and mothers. This is where we can focus on now, that we don't have to focus on the threats of the destroying the unborn life and lying to women at this with the abortion facilities in our state and immediately surrounding our state. They're not going to be there anymore. So now we have to focus on helping women and making this big transition from after 50 years of legalized abortion in our nation.
Yeah. Clay, do you have any comments or any questions for Laura?
Well, Laura, on our Guns and Gear text line here, somebody texted in this morning and said, now we can just get adoptions affordable. I think that'd be such a great thing if we can move some attention to streamlining adoption somewhat and really opening up people to that option. And, that's something I would love to see moving forward.
I hear that a lot. People want to be able to adopt. They want to be able to afford to adopt. And there's so many different ways to adopt a child, adopt an infant. And we will be looking into what all the costs are. But we also want to remember that there is a birth mother that will be involved if they're adopting an infant directly through an adoption agency, that we want to take care of her and her health care and her, because she will be losing a child. She's placing her own child with adoptive parents, so we want to be sure that she gets the health care and therapy that she needs as well. And that's sometimes incurred in adoption agencies.
One of the other
that way. There are other ways you could do foster to adopt. You can become a foster family through the CPS here through the state, or you could do a foster family through a charity like Catholic Charities, and work through adoption that way. That's a little less expensive on the adoptive family side. Yeah. And there are other ways to adopt that are less expensive.
Well, y'all are doing a great job there at Pro-Life Mississippi. How can people find out more about y'all and what you do?
Well, first place I would send them is to our website at prolifems.org. It's prolifems.org. And you can call our office anytime during the week at 8:30 to 4:30. It is 601-956-8636.
All right, Laura Knight, the president of Pro-Life Mississippi, doing a great job educating the public and lawmakers since 1984. Laura, thank you so much for joining us.
Laura, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, man, Laura Knight there with Pro-Life Mississippi. That was great. You know, Jim, one of the things, and I don't know how legal this is or whatnot, but we're seeing a lot of these major corporations like Dick's Sporting Goods have come out and said, we're going to pay for abortion vacations, basically. Yeah. And New York, the state of New York is saying, come on a killcation and come kill your baby here. We'll board you. We'll feed you. We'll pay for the abortion. Just come here and kill your baby. I believe that we should somehow find a way to make that illegal for businesses that operate in the state of Mississippi to not be able to pay their employees to go kill their babies. Mm-hmm. I think that's where the next fight is going to be, is letting these kind of companies know, or heck, let them know your dollars, people.
That's it. Yeah, that's the bottom line.
Let them know your dollars that you don't want a company in Mississippi they'll pay $4,000 like Dick's Sporting Good for you to go to kill your baby, but they won't help you with your insulin.
Yeah.
You know, killing babies are more important than saving lives. Yeah. That's disgusting. As you say it out loud, it's the first time I've had a chance to talk about it since I read it. And as those words come out of my mouth, I just want to throw up. Mm-hmm. All right, well, look, we're going to take a break real quick. And when we come back, we're going to have, I believe, Reverend Doug Lane with right. Pastors for Life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm joined here in the studio today by Jim Thorn. And again, we're not going to take any calls this morning, but if you want to text into the show, the Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944, and we'll be right back on 103.9 WYAB.
America, you love your country, so it goes without saying that you also love your ride. And Auto Armor in Flowood wants to help you make that ride shine. Auto Armor in Flowood is Central Mississippi's premier automotive detail and ceramic coating shop, servicing any type of vehicle, including ATVs, boats, and more. Need just a quick detail or paint correction? Auto Armor can make it happen. But if you're set to hit the road in a blaze of glory while flying the old red, white, and blue, Auto Armor should be your first and last call to give your ride a full ceramic coating. Auto Armor is locally owned and operated by the loud and proud American patriot Clay Edwards. Auto Armor also proudly backs the blue, all military and first responders. So don't forget to ask for your discount. Call 601-260-0858. 601-260-0858. Or stop in today, fellow Americans. Auto Armor is located at 4394 Mangum Drive in Flowood. Online at AutoArmorMS.com. Auto Armor, unapologetically American.
All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here on a Monday morning, coming off the heels of Roe versus Wade being overturned and sent back to the states. And when you live in a great state like Mississippi, say what you won't, say what you will about it. Our trigger laws have kicked in, and abortion is now illegal in the state of Mississippi, or it will be here within the next couple of days. Anyway, and real quick, this segment is going to be brought to you by Lakeland Glass and Tint, where quality matters, right over there on Lakeland Drive. If you need your home, car, or automobile windows tinted or your windshield replaced, give Lakeland Glass and Tint a call today, 601-946-1000 or lakelandglassandtint.com. All right, we have another guest here joining Jim Thorn and I on the Mac Hike of Flowood phone line. This is Reverend Doug Lane with Pastors for Life. Reverend Doug, you there?
Yes, I am.
How are you doing this morning?
Doing great. Look, let me put in a plug for one of your sponsors. Watkins Construction roofed our house about 5 years ago, and we've never had a single problem with it.
Man, they're great. Michael Deere and his entire team down there are just absolutely top-notch individuals. Thank you for that plug. There's nothing better than a customer giving the plug.
Well, it was a great job.
Well, good deal. So, look, man, you're down there, boots on ground, and you got some good news for us, right?
Man, I'm looking at the so-called Pink House, this abortion mill, and there's not anybody here. It's closed.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Doug, Jim Thorn here. You've been involved in this fight for life for, I don't know, maybe 35 years, out in front of the clinic on public property. You've been organizing rallies there, and you've been there all types of weather, all difficulties. You've been threatened, yet you and others like what you have done consistently out there helping women scheduled to have abortions. What were your thoughts Friday when you heard that the Roe decision had been overturned? What were you thinking?
Well, Jim, I'm just going to be truthful with you. I was surprised, gladly surprised. I didn't know that this day would ever come. I knew all of the stuff that went on with the leak and the draft and everything, but I was still in the back of my mind just not sure this day would have ever happened. But when it did, it was great, except for they were still killing babies. You know, they killed babies Friday, they killed babies Saturday. The owner said they were going to be open as long as they could be and do as many abortions as they could, but they're closed down today. So we're hoping and praying that no other babies, Jim, will ever die in this place.
Yeah. Doug, I know a lot of us really don't know the effectiveness of your work over the years. You and others like yourself have been responsible literally for saving the lives of hundreds, maybe even thousands of children, teenagers, and adults who are now very much alive because of your efforts. You ever think about that, Doug?
Oh, sure, Jim. We get pictures from ladies that we've helped of their babies when they're born, and a lot of folks down here walked women through that were even inside on the abortion, on the table, getting ready to have the abortion and change their mind and come out. And people help them, walk them through the pregnancy, do anything they can, adopt their babies. We've had babies that were just inches away from death in this place who are alive now and been adopted by folks that were out here. And, Jim, our mission always was to present the gospel of Jesus Christ. Let these people know that they could trust Jesus. They couldn't trust the abortionists, and preached a fairly strong message sometimes, turn and burn, turn to Jesus or go to hell. A lot of people don't like that, but it impacted a lot of people, Jim, changed a lot of people's minds. And so we're very thankful for all that God has done.
I know you and others could really give kudos to those who are there at the Crisis Pregnancy Center, which is really right, almost a stone's throw right from the abortion clinic, and kind of ushering women who are looking for true help to that place, and where they can get some free help. You want to give a shout out to them?
Absolutely, Jim. We'd feel like hypocrites, or at least I would, if we weren't offering people help. If we were just out here shouting and all these other things, Jim, I'd feel like a hypocrite. But we've always had Pro-Life Mississippi. We've always had crisis pregnancy centers. We have the Klein Center now, like you say, just stone's throw from here. And we've walked so many women over there from this place, and they get a live sonogram. They don't get some picture taken by a machine that's 100 years old. And yeah, we appreciate them so much, and we're behind all the efforts to ramp up, helping women who are in crisis pregnancies. We certainly support adoption, Jim, but the truth of the matter is I don't know that there would be a newborn baby in Mississippi that would be available for adoption. I understand foster care for older children, adoption for older children. The newborn babies are in great demand, Jim. So that I think that's been true probably most of the years that we've been out here. We beg these people, put their babies up for adoption. So we're thankful that some of them have.
I'm looking back and thinking of all the people involved in this fight over the years. Now, you've been doing it for many, many years. What's next for Doug Lane? I mean, you've been out to the clinic just about several days a week, oftentimes. What's on the horizon for you?
Well, we have friends in North Carolina. We have friends in Kansas. Those are going to be two of the closest states where women from Mississippi can go to get abortions. So we will certainly be going over to help them out and going to other places where we're called to go and continue this kind of work.
Hey, Doug, Clay Edwards here. Just listening to you and kind of running these thoughts through my head here. Something I would love to see now, they allow all these type of shenanigans like drag queen shows and stuff in our schools. Wouldn't it be great to get some pro-life organizations into these high schools to be able to speak to these kids about the option of adoption or just keeping their children. It seems like our side is not well represented in these public schools when it comes to this type of stuff.
Well, Clay, I haven't thought too much about the schools. I'm
just looking at younger women here, that maybe are more worried. So that's kind of my thought process.
Oh, sure. Yeah, reaching. Our whole hope is to reach people before they get to this place. I mean, we're out here preaching the Bible. That the sex outside of marriage is a sin. That you shouldn't do that, and that But we're activists. So I don't know about the schools, but this weekend we had 2 gay pride events here, and we had folks that come out here with us go to both of those events and preach against that. So that's the kind of thing we do. So
good stuff. Thank y'all.
Yeah. Now I didn't do it. I was not involved in that this weekend, but when this thing shuts down, I'll become more involved in that.
Whoa. Doug Lane, you've been a good friend for many years. I want to thank you for what you have been doing on behalf of so many. And any final thoughts before we let you go this morning, Reverend Doug Lane?
Well, one quick thing, Jim, and I'm sure you're aware of this. We're having a memorial service today for Richard Miller, who passed away. He and his wife, Melody, have been involved in this work on the street for many, many years, and I'd just like to give a shout-out to Melody, and we'll be at that service, and then everybody that has come out here. Jim, we don't weep and moan, but we've been vilified, and we've had all kinds of things said about us from both sides, Jim. But we've persevered. We feel like we've played a part in this, and we're so thankful that hopefully there won't be any more babies die in this place, Jim. We were the last line of defense. All the political work, all the talking, all the preaching, all that didn't work, and we were right here, the last stop before those little babies were executed. And we thank God that we've been able to persevere and for the many blessings that He's given us for being out here.
Doug Lane, thank you so much, brother.
Doug, have a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, and good to meet you, Clay.
You as well, my brother. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Jim, that was a great call there from Doug, and to talk to somebody there on the front lines, boots on ground perspective. I heard somebody call into Kim's show Friday, and they asked the question, well, what do they do with that place now? And Kim had mentioned one out in North Jackson, and I don't recall that one, but I grew up in South Jackson. There was that one right there on Terry Road in front of the Kroger, and I hope y'all have eaten breakfast this morning already or hadn't maybe. Somebody turned that one into a restaurant for a little while. It didn't work, suffice to say. But, I think it should be torn down and a memorial be built for all the lives that were lost there, just like at 9/11 and Ground Zero, as far as I'm concerned. True. But we know what the kind of people that run these type places will do. That who knows, man? Maybe they can turn it into an adoption center.
Well, of some sort. Or a pro-life organization of some sort. That's happened in other states. You're right. Mm-hmm.
That would be great. Jim, real quick before we go to our break here, man, I just want to thank you. You've been boots on ground doing this for a while too. I mean, you're a radio guy and you help facilitate all these interviews and this kind of stuff over the years. But you've given a lot of pro-life folks a big platform, and you've been there walking the walk and talking the talk.
Well, also, Clay, you got to thank people like Matthew Wzelowski and Danielle and other groups that I worked with, the American Family Association. Mm-hmm. They are the ones that are allowing this kind of information to get out there that a lot of us would not even know about had it not been for them. So kudos to them.
Absolutely. And those are our station owners here at WYAB. Right. So they allow us to get on and do this stuff where most people wouldn't. All right. I am joined in the studio by Jim Thorn. This is Clay Edwards, and we'll be right back on 103.9 WYAB. Edwards Show. Got a few minutes here before our top of the hour break, and in the 8 o'clock hour, I'll have Michael Cassidy joining me for the whole hour as we get ready for the big runoff election in the congressional 3rd District. Tomorrow, he's going up against establishment Democrat vote beggar Michael Guest. So let's get out there and vote for Michael Cassidy if you want to see the same change that I want to see. This segment is going to be brought to you by Guns and Gear. They sponsor our text line here on the Clay Edwards Show, so we're very appreciative of that. But go out there and see them at 1716 Highway 51 North in Madison, Mississippi. Or check them out online at gunsandgearms.com. Follow them on social media for their deal of the day. And don't forget, Guns and Gear is the home of No Limit Ammo. Speaking of the Guns and Gear text line, we have gotten some texts here throughout the show, so I want to catch up on some of those real quick. One of our favorite people, a friend of mine, Derek, texts in and says, now we are finally starting to see true democracy, where the few isn't catering to the few, but for the good of all. And amen to that. Sarah texts me in a picture of her daughter and her friend out there at the Pink House celebrating the win over the weekend. I think it was Saturday they were out there. She had people who worked there were bawling, crying all day because they are satanic, and said that Roe was, and they were sad that Roe was overturned. Played demonic music very loud, trying to scare the pro lovers away. She said she was scared, but she had her Glock packed on her hip. I love it. I love it. Take the laws that they hate and turn them against them. I'm gonna tell you what. The LGBTQ LMNOP baby killing crowd had a rough Pride Month, didn't they? They had a rough Pride Month. We took their abortions away. The freedom lovers in New York can now get a gun license, a license to carry, it's now a right to carry state. So they took some blows. I mean, we took a body shot too with the red flag laws and stuff that are going to be coming down in certain states. But the LGBTQ LMNOP baby killers, pedophiles, we ended the month with a good, clean, right cross to their face. We took the abortions away. Y'all took the abortions away. Great job to all these people who have been in this fight way longer than Clay Edwards has. I'm going to tell y'all a quick story real quick. You know, when you're young, you don't think about stuff in big picture. I was raised in a Christian home. But I was y'all have heard the story. When I was 17, 18, 19, I was a screw up of epic proportions. And they used to, the Christians, the good folks, the good guys, used to protest at the abortion clinic in South Jackson there, right down by Whitten Junior High, where I went to junior high. And I remember riding by one Saturday. They were out there protesting, and I hung my head out the window. I was riding with a guy. I hung my head out the window, screamed something stupid to him. I don't even know what. It was, just again, I was not a good kid. My hat flew off my head, and I just paid $30 for this hat, and I had to turn around. I got my buddy to turn around. We were in one of our little mini trucks or lowriders or something like that, and the guy that I was screaming at picked my hat up and brought it over to me and prayed for me. And I've never told this story before, but it was at that moment I was like, oh man, I am a-hole. And it was right about then that I really did change. I don't know that I was ever pro-abortion by no stretch of the imagination, but I was just a little jerk kid that saw people protesting and was screaming at them, but they could have wanted to beat me up when I turned around to go get my hat, but they didn't do that. They handed me my hat, knocked the dust off of it, and prayed for me there in the parking lot right there. And that is I've just never forgot that. So you never know, how you treat people on the street and how you can treat people in a situation. And if you don't engage into the nonsense that they try to engage upon you, maybe they can change your mind without having to do it like that, in a negative way. So just my thoughts there. Again, speaking of the LGBTQ crowd, they are very upset about this. And I keep going back to, why are the LGBTQ folks upset about somebody not being able to have an abortion? If y'all are keeping it 100 and you're staying real to you shouldn't be getting pregnant or impregnating anybody. This is a conversation that does not involve you all. Why are you involving yourself into this conversation? You need to go on over there, do what you do. I mean, be lucky if gay marriage ain't next. Man, and speaking of that, is Clarence Thomas the greatest living American right now? Should we make an exception and add Clarence Thomas to Mount Rushmore as the greatest living American? I mean, it's coin toss between him and Trump. All right, man, we'll be right back with Michael Cassidy.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow at 7 a.m. as the Clay Edwards Show discusses all that is going on in and around the city of Jackson.
This concludes our broadcast day.
Right here on 103.9 WYAB.